Good evening. I am testing out the an alpha of the Reality expansion pack, and this is a pre-release version, so you can't. This isn't ready for release yet. We're testing some new features, and so that's kind of what I'm doing here. So, and I think I want to try
Full
to
throttle.
do throttle idle.
Throttle to idle.
So I want to uh, kind of demonstrate a little bit of that and do some touch and goes because I did some yesterday and the weather was not what I thought it was. It was kind of coming across the runway at 12 and it was gusting to 18 and my last landing I wanted to do a full stop and I stopped but I stopped in a crash, so didn't make my day. So I will go ahead and the other thing I'm using is a beta version of Plane Command, and so I have the VR walk around. I have it mapped to a custom command. So so I'm gonna kind of like do. I think what I'm gonna do first is I'll go ahead and I'll do like a real. Let me go to the menu, plugins, rep, and what do I want to do here? Toggle static elements. So I'm going to turn all the static elements on right now. So we should have everything. Everything should be on right now. So if I use plane command, I'm going to go walk.
Okay.
So when I went walk, the Reality expansion pack walk around checklist kind of appears. So because I'm in VR, it appeared like attached to my headset. So we'll go ahead and go through the checklist, just like so the plane should be, to the best of my knowledge, cold and dark, and so we'll go ahead and go through it. So pilot operating handbook, and before I go too far, I want to make sure everything is working okay. Yeah, I think it is. I'm going to click on. Hang on. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that that the stream, I can look at it and I can see that that I picked up the switch sound, and so I'm good. I have like started a stream or two and not had the had the sound turned off, and kind of a bit of a wasted effort. So, but so we have this. So parking brake on. So parking brakes on. Avionics power switch off. That's off. Ignition switch is off. Master switch, we'll turn it on. And we'll check the fuel quantity. Yeah, we got enough to do some touch and goes. And we're going to put the flaps down. Flaps going down. Then we'll turn the master switch back off. So I go ahead and I'll click on next. And so fuel on off valve. It's on. So fuel selector valve, it's on both, so we're good. Static source here. Trim controls at neutral. We're good. So we click here. Now we're going to go outside and we're going to check the baggage door. So so the way we do this is I basically, with my left controller, I go ahead and I grab a hold of this top bar here. And so I'm going to open up the window and I'm going to teleport outside, kind of blindly, because the door doesn't open up enough to do it correctly. So it spun around here a little bit. So this, I think that one. Yeah. So So now, like I'm like right, I'm looking right at the door, so you can absolutely see it's closed. So we're going to click on next, and now we're going to go to the elevator. So once again, I'll grab this, and we're going to go out here, then back around. Whoops. Get back around here. I have actually too many windows showing right now, but I'll work through that problem. So get back over here. And a lot of this is not any fault of the program. It's all in Bill's ability to operate the teleporter. So we're going to check the elevator. So if I click on this here, the elevator will go up and down. Now I click on next. Now we're going to check the rudder. So the rudder goes back and forth. And we click on next. We're going to toggle the tie down. Tie down's gone. So we click on next. And the next place we're going to go is we're going to go to the emergency locator. So we'll go ahead and grab this and then over here. Put my windows kind of out of the way here. So, whoops. So I got to find, there it is. So that's where the emergency locator is. That's where the hotspot is for it. So we're right at it. So it's absolutely there. So we'll go ahead and click on next. And now we're going to check on the flaps. And actually, I'm in a fair place. So I can just go ahead and click on the flaps. And they just move a little bit. Just like in a real airplane, the flaps won't move very far. If they move very far, that you have a problem. It isn't like the aileron where when you you touch the aileron, I mean, you can move it a lot, but the flaps aren't going to move very far. So we're going to click on next, and I want to see. Let me grab a hold of this guy. Oops. Let me bounce out here and see if I want to see if there was a hotspot. Yeah, there is. There's one right here. Okay. So I thought there was one. There's one over there, and I see I left my. I can do this. I'm trying to hit my the keyboard. When I click on the next thing, it'll show up again. So we're at the aileron. So I click on. So the aileron goes up and down. I'll click on it again, should stop it. And then you can like, normally you can hit the trigger a little bit. Yeah. So you can bring it up a little bit at a time. So, okay, so we're good with that. And now we're going to go to the tie down. And actually, I can actually do that right from here. So I can click on the tie down. Tie down's gone. So we click on next. And now we're going to check fuel. Actually, I'm going to go over here. I wanted to hide the keyboard. I'm going to go out in front of the plane a little bit, spin around. So we're going to check fuel. So this higher hotspot, that should take me right to the fuel. Yep, right there. So it says that I have 11 gallons. The color looks good. It's blue. And there's no contamination. So I can go ahead and go to the next. So now we're going to check the, we're going to toggle the chocks. So I'm going to see if I can go right down this way. So I can find the hotspot. There it is. Okay. So now I'm at the, right there where the tire is. So it says the tire status is in the green. So, and I can click on chocks. So if I click on chocks, the chocks go away. And so we're checking on tire. We're good. So we click on next. Now we're going to check engine oil. So, so if I go over right there, that's where you check engine oil. And everything looks good here. I got 8 gallons, so everything looks good. Color looks good. So we'll go ahead and click on next. And now we're going to go to the front of the aircraft. So find that hotspot. There it is. So now we're in front of the aircraft, and we have the covers in. So here it says toggle cover. So I click on that. That toggles the cover. And so looking at the prop, yep, it looks okay. So we'll go ahead and click next. And it says the tire, it looks good. And the strut's good. So now we're going to check the fuel on the other side. So it's the same thing. It's like way up high. So there's where we check it. And so it says we got 11 gallons. Color's good. No water contamination. So next. Now we're going to go over to the pitot tube. And that'll be a little difficult to get from where I am. But let me come out here a little bit. So I have a better shot at it. Okay, I want to be right there. Cool. So so now I can clearly see that the pitot tube, it's got the cover on. So we'll click on this. Pitot tube cover is removed. And so we click on next. And so we're going to remove this tie down here. So we click on tie down. And we're looking at the landing light. Looks okay. And now we're going to go check the aileron. So hide. So we'll get back behind the aileron, back behind the wing. And see if we can find it. There we go. So now we're behind the aileron where we can actually test it. Okay. And click on next. Now we check the flaps. Everything looks good. So we actually need to get down right there. So now we can actually check the it says the tire status is good, so we can take the chocks off, and clicked on hide. And at this point in time, what it says is finished. So when I click on finished, I will be done with my outside VR walk around, and I'll just do a quick check, just to look around the aircraft to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Doesn't look like I did. So we'll go ahead and hit finish. And now we can teleport ourselves. There's 2 ways we can go. We can either hit this button here. That'll take me right to the cockpit seat, or I could teleport in. I'll use this one, and I'll go right to the cockpit seat. So I'm just checking to make sure I'm flying with a real yoke. And I'm just making sure that I'm lined up with it. I'm a little bit off. And so I will try to make it better. Nope, made it worse. A little bit. Yeah, I'll be happy with that. Okay. So I'm just making sure that that I can when I pull the yoke all the way back, I can feel it touch me. And that's a good place to be. So so now we gotta close the door. Okay. So I'm going to bring up my checklist and get the engine started so that we can see if we can do some touch and goes here. So advanced menu, I'm going to bring up X checklist. And it says open checklist. Looks like we got the right one. So I click on next.
2 brakes. Test and set. 3 fuel selector. Both. 4 fuel shut-off valve. On, in. 6 beacon.
Turn the beacon on.
7 avionics switch.
Off.
Off. 8 master switch.
On.
On. 9 throttle. Open 1/4 inch. 10 mixture. Idle cut off. A auxiliary pump.
Turn the pump on.
On. B mixture.
Put it to rich.
Rich until 3 to 5 GPH, then cut
Sure.
off.
So we're going to say we're good.
C auxiliary pump.
Pull it back.
Off. 12 starter.
So we'll go see if we can get this thing to start.
Engage. 1 ignition switch. Start. 2 mixture, at engine start. Rich. 3 engine. RPM 1000 RPM. 4 oil pressure.
So we're looking for oil pressure. We're good.
5 mixture. Leaned max. 6 flaps.
So flaps need to be up. We had them down for the pre-flight.
Retract. 7 avionics.
So we're going to turn the avionics on.
Erie INTL Tom Ridge FLD information Romeo. 1400 Zulu weather. Wind 320 at 7, visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 30, dew point 17. Altimeter 3007. Arriving runway 24, departing runway 24. Advise on initial contact you have Romeo. 8 instruments.
Set altimeter 3007.
Altimeter 3100.
Set altimeter 3007.
Altimeter 3007.
That looks much better. Every once in a while it does not understand me. That's fine. It's all a learning experience. Okay, we got radios on, so we got the taxi light on. Now all we need to do is just let the engine warm up a little bit here. And we can taxi over to runway 24. So go ahead and I'm using Pilot ATC, so I'm gonna click on frequency. And I'm gonna click on ground. So when I click on ground here, it's gonna put the ground frequency in standby. So if I click on this, and we'll say weather Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf weather at Kilo Echo Romeo India is CLR. Visibility is 10 miles, winds are 330 at 7 knots, cloud coverage is CLR. Current altimeter is 3007.
Okay, so that kind of proved that the Pilot ATC is listening to me, and we'll see if the active runway agrees with ATIS. Hey, active runway, Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, you were garbled. Please say again.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, say active runway.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf arriving and departing runway 24.
Okay. So the ATIS and the Pilot ATC are in agreement, which is a great thing. Like I said yesterday, we had winds that were 12 and they were gusting 18, and I didn't realize that. I thought they were only 12, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't keep myself on the runway, and I was having a heck of a time. And so that's part of why I wanted to stream today, is kind of get those out of my head, and we'll we'll kind of go from there. Okay, it looks like the engine oil temperature is up in the green, so I should be able to get permission to taxi. Ground Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, ready to taxi.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf taxi to runway 24 via taxiways Delta, Alpha, hold short runway 02, and runway 24. Taxi to runway 24 via taxiways Delta, Alpha, hold short runway 02, and runway 24 Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
Okay. It says we're okay. So at 1,000 RPM, this thing should taxi pretty easily. As long as you keep it around that RPM, it doesn't complain. If you try to reduce the RPM too much more, it's going to give you a warning message that says that the plugs will foul. It just basically just the way the engines work. So there's two ways to resolve it. One is you can just leave it up at 1,000. This isn't going too bad. Looks pretty good. The other way is if you want to run it under 1,000, then you have to pull the mixture out a little bit. So, but whenever you pull the mixture out, you always have to remember before you go to take off to make sure that the mixture is full rich. You'll know it pretty quick. You try to give it full power with the mixture pulled back a little bit, and it will not come up to RPM. It just won't. You can hear it. You can hear it. It just doesn't feel right. Doesn't sound right. So we're going to come down. We have to cross this runway here, and we have to have permission to do it. Normally, when I'm taxiing out this way, it will basically clear me. So we'll see if this happens.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf clear to cross runway 20. Cleared to cross runway 20 Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
So we're good. They cleared me. When I get done and taxi back, they'll never clear me for this. Never. I have to ask permission. It's kind of funny. So in this direction from the general aviation parking, they always clear me. But coming back the other way, nope, doesn't work that way. So we're going to go out taxiway A here, and we are at Kilo Echo Romeo India, Erie, Pennsylvania. This is where I learned how to fly an airplane just like this. You learned to fly a Cessna 172, and have about 108 8 hours. I will call myself a former student pilot. I didn't quite make get my ticket. Some issues at work got in the way. Too much stress from that, and so I had to quit. So I was close, but didn't make it. Decided to pick up computer flight simulation. I had always been into that, but I got a lot more serious. I become a plugin. I started using X-Plane because it supports Linux, and I learned how to write plugins, and so I wrote. So I also, besides streaming, I also write plugins. So, and right now, most of my plugins that I write are related to virtual reality, to VR. And so the one plugin that I did, and I just got done using, is X Checklist. I am a co-author of that. So my friend in the Czech Republic, Michael, him and me basically wrote that plugin together. So It looks like my gyro's fairly well lined up. That's a good thing. So a couple of times I'll be coming out here, I'll look at it and go, wow, that is way off. But I kind of checked it before I left, and it's always best to check it after the engine's running, because it seems like when you start the engine, it makes a difference. It sometimes will affect it. Not every time, but it sometimes will affect it. So, alrighty. So we're gonna roll around. We're gonna come in here and do a real quick run up. I'm just gonna check the mags just to make sure they're okie dokie. So we'll come over here. Alrighty, that looks pretty good. Okay. So REP is complaining that the spark plugs will foul, and because I have the RPM down too low. So I got the brakes on. I'm going to bring the power up to 1800. Always good to check to make sure that the brakes are actually holding, or you'll be in for a surprise. Okay, so I'm going to go from both to the left, and then to right, back to left, back to both. And what you're looking for, and the other thing I'll look at, is temp's good, oil pressure's good, vacuum's good, and so I can bring it back to, I'll bring it back to 1,000. And so you're looking to make sure that everything is in the green when you do your test. So we're all good. Last chance to do like a little, just look at your gauges, make sure your altimeter looks good, your directional gyro looks good, your flaps are up, you're in trim for takeoff, and at this point, release your brakes and head over to runway 24. Don't need that much. I just needed to release the brakes. Cessnas, when they are running very slow, they don't turn very well at all. So sometimes you have to give a little help and go ahead and just tap the brake of the inner wheel you want to spin around, and just tap it. Just stop it momentarily, and it'll kind of pivot around that point. So, but when you're taxiing real slow, it doesn't work well. Hey, what's going on? How are you doing? In Windows today. Sorry about that. Gonna do some touch and goes. We'll see how good I am today. I did use your latest version, and everything seemed to work okay. So, but I did use that. When was that? I think it was. I can't remember now. If I streamed. Yeah, I think today I used it. It was I streamed in Linux this morning. So yeah, I used it this morning. So. Okay. Yeah, I've been trying to follow, so when
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf contact tower on 118.1.
So when I see you do
tower on 118.1 Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
So when I see you do a new when I see something new show up on the repository, I usually try to go ahead and grab it and get it set up so that I can build it. So. Or so that I can use it. Build it's probably the wrong term. Okay, we have in the active right now, we have the tower frequency. So when I get down here a little bit, I got to ask permission to take off. And I got to get like turned around a little bit here. So, and I have pulled the mixture back a little bit so that the plugs won't foul. And I put the parking brake on right now, and it's gonna be a little chance to breathe a little bit. So then that I can have my throttle back all the way to idle, and I won't foul the plugs. So let me see. Let me see if I can do this without some help. If I don't get this on the first attempt, I'll just get help. Tower 6 Bravo Golf, holding short, runway 24. Request depart, remain in pattern.
6 Bravo Golf winds are 320 at 7 knots,
Cool.
altimeter 3007 cleared for takeoff. Runway 24 fly a left-hand pattern for touch and goes on runway 24, remain on this frequency.
Cleared for takeoff. Runway 24 fly a left-hand pattern for touch and goes. Runway 24 will stay with you. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
Okay, brakes are up. Must be a little bit of a hill here. I gotta give it a little bit more power to get it to come off. So put that out of the way. Yes, yes. All the things I want in Linux. Alrighty. Showtime. Okay, so a little last check out here to make sure everything looks good. Yep, everything's pretty good. So we'll slowly give it some power here. Okay, 55 knots, should be able to climb. Not sure why she wasn't climbing too good right there. I don't know what that was all about. Alrighty, we're trying to maintain a runway heading, and we're trying to get up 500 feet up off the ground here before we make our left-hand turn here. Interesting. Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll turn to a heading of 150. We're trying to get to pattern altitude of 1,800 feet. Trying not to turn too steep. We're looking for a heading of 150. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull the power back now to around 2,000. Line her up on 150. Okay, we're at 90 degrees with the runway. Go ahead, we're looking for a heading of 060. Trying to maintain pattern altitude here. And just doing a slow turn, just don't need to lay it over. Okay, roll into 060. Looking at the runway, making sure we're parallel with that runway. Just kind of looking over everything in the cockpit, make sure everything is kind of acting okay. Everything looking not too bad. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, downwind runway 24, request touch and go.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf winds are 320 at 7 knots, cleared for the option runway 24.
Cleared touch and go. Runway 24 Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
I basically I have a set of, I have a yoke, and I have rudder pedals, and then I have touch controllers. So right now the plane is in trim. So in other words, I don't have my hands on the yoke at all. They just flying level. So we went past the end of the runway. So I'm gonna pull the power back just a little bit, and I'm gonna put out 1 notch of flaps. So kind of the goal here is to get the plane to descend. Not a lot, just a little bit. And then always trying to keep the plane trimmed up, so that, because you're trimming for airspeed. Alrighty. Looking not too bad. Feeling a lot different than it felt yesterday. So I'll go ahead and I'll make a turn here. Looking for a heading of 330. No, 1 more notch of flaps. Okay, I'm going to gradually turn into the to line up with the runway. Acting like I rushed it a little bit, but we'll work through it. So I'm going to dump out my last notch of flaps. Trying to get lined up with the runway here. So I have full flaps out. I'm trying for a descent of 500 feet per minute. Trying to be lined up with the runway. We've got the runway made. So just start pulling back on the yoke. Not that early. Oh, well, not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, great landing. Yep. Oh yeah, this is dramatically better than yesterday. Oh, I can't believe how much different it is. So we'll go ahead and give it full power. Make sure our flaps are up before we did that, and got to give it a little bit of right rudder to keep it with this much power. A little bit of right rudder, get the trim back where it was when we took off, and we're good to go. Time to do this again. Thank you. When I'm climbing out here, I'm trying to maintain the runway heading of 240 and trying to get an airspeed of around 80 knots. It basically is the best climb for a Cessna. So Yeah, this is absolutely, this made my day. Okay, we're gonna turn for a heading of 150. Try not to go too steep. Now I can pull the power back. I see I'm coming up on pattern altitude. Roll it into 150. And she'll probably climb up a little bit here before she steadies out, so. Okie dokie. Oh, we'll turn to heading of 060. Same thing, just try not to turn, when you're doing these patterns, you don't want to be too steep in your turns. So I got to turn just a little bit more to get to lined up on 6. So now I got to do my call in 2 steps for her to be happy with me. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, downwind, runway 24.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, call turning final for runway 24.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, request touch and go, runway 24.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, winds are 320 and 7 knots, cleared for the option runway 24.
Cleared touch and go runway 24 Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
If I try to do it the same way I did the first time, she will not accept that. I don't know why, but she won't. And so I have to break it up into 2 steps. But when I do that, then she gives me the winds, and I'm good to go. So. Okay, I'm clearly in the white arc here, so I can put out a notch of flaps. 1 notch of flaps, trying to maintain a heading. And I'm going to pull back to like about 1800 or so. Trying to always keep the plane in trim so that I don't have to do too much work with the yoke. You know, it'll basically, it's flying itself. And we're kind of, the goal here is to try to do a descent from that point to the runway at about 500 feet per minute. So you're trying to descend at that rate, and you make adjustments with your airspeed. You know, you want to try to keep it right through here, probably about 70 knots. And when you're on approach, you probably want to be about 65 knots. And but you're constantly trying to, if you're like too low, then you basically will give it some more power to bring the elevation up. So I'm going for a heading of 330. And I'm a little bit high right here. So we'll put out 1 more notch of flaps. Looking for the runway. I'm close to the runway. I turned a little closer than I probably should have, but the runway is 8,500 feet. So there's a lot of it for me to use. And I'm also going to try to go a little bit further out so that so my pattern should be at 90 degrees. So, and I have elevation to do it with because I'm at 1500. The runway's at 730. So looking through here, and it's kind of cool because my chat window, I can see right through it. So it doesn't get in the way. Looks like it might, but it does not get in the way. It's kind of cool. It's translucent. I can adjust it and make it where I can look right through it. So I'm gonna pull back the power just a little bit. Pull back the power a little bit. I thought I pulled it back and it didn't seem to change any, so I kind of like went, oh, let me try that again. So we're trying to get lined up with a runway here. Last notch of flaps out. I can hear the airspeed getting too low. Last thing I want to do is is stall on approach here, so we're good. Really? Said I had a hard landing there. Really? I didn't think it was that bad. I flared just a little bit early. Up we go. Yeah, just a tad early. You should like it. You should hear the horn. You should hear, but you should hear it just about the time you touch. But it's all good. Yeah. If you would have seen my stream from yesterday, these landings are perfect. It was bad yesterday. You see that ground coming up, and you think that you gotta start pulling the yoke back. And this particular airplane that I'm flying, it's called the plane I'm flying is a Default Cessna 172, but there's an expansion pack that goes that's on it that is called Reality Expansion Pack. And what it does is it makes the airplane more realistic. Yeah, it's called a Reality Expansion Pack. So we're going to turn for a heading of 150. And this particular version that I'm using is an alpha. So it is like it's way early in development. So I was thinking yesterday that okay, roll into 150. I need to pull my power back. I was thinking yesterday that part of my issues were, let's look back, make sure the runway's about 90 degrees, would you? I was thinking part of my issues were exactly that, is that it's, it is a little bit, it's realistic or something like that. So, but then when I actually checked the weather, and then I found out what the real weather was, not what I was being told, then I kind of like went, oh, no, that's probably not what it is. So it's part of the reason why I wanted to do at least a couple of touch and goes here, and we'll kind of go from there. So we got it. We're on the heading of 060, and Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, downwind, runway 24.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, call turning final for runway 24.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, request touch and go, runway 24.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, winds are 320 and 7 knots, cleared for the option runway 24.
Cleared touch and go runway 24 Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
Alrighty. Yeah, this is a fun place to learn how to fly. So basically out here you have the peninsula. It's about 300 acres. And it basically juts out in from the lakeshore. It juts out and it almost touches over here. There's like a channel there. And so what it does is it protects the bay here, so that the storms and stuff from Lake Erie don't tend to affect the bay. The peninsula protects that. And there's also like beaches and stuff on the peninsula, so pretty cool. Real fun place to fly. Alrighty, so I'm gonna put out my nacho flaps, pull power back maybe to 1800 or so. And trying to trim for around 70 knots or so. So I'm definitely high, so I'm going to come out a little bit further than normal, and go ahead and make a turn here to a heading of 330. One more notch of flaps. It's a better distance from the runway. Trying to manage my power and airspeed. Yeah, cool thing about VR, just like in real life, you can kind of like just keep on this heading here, keep looking at the runway and going, okay, yeah, we're good. Alrighty, probably about ready to turn. Yeah, pretty close. Yeah, we'll turn now. And you're constantly kind of looking at your vertical airspeed, you know, trying to keep it around, you know, minus 500 knots or so. So I got 2 notches of flaps out. I'm trimmed for hands off. I'm about 1600 RPM. My hands are off the yoke, and so this is where the plane's going to fly. And right now it's at, it's wandering around between 400 and 500 feet per minute in all my descents. So the pappies are saying I am a little bit low. So we'll give it just a little bit of power. Not a lot. So I'm going to put the last notch of flaps in. He's going to balloon up just a little bit. Go back to power. Definitely made the runway. Better. Oh, we'll go ahead and take off. Trying to readjust my trim from where I was climbing at. Oh yeah, that was a lot better. Haven't quite got my climb trim here yet. Yeah, we're pretty good. 85 knots is good. Yeah, that was way better. It's so subtle. It is so subtle. But the to do good landings is all approach. So in other words, like that whole approach, I was at the same airspeed running right around minus 500 feet per minute. And, you know, at around 15 or 1600, it looked, the pappies were telling me I was a little bit low. So I just give it a little bit. Like from 16, I went up to maybe 1700 RPMs, not a lot, just a little bit. And that makes like all the difference. Just, and you don't make a monstrous change. You just subtle changes. So we're going to turn to 1500, 150. And I think, maybe I can do a couple more. So I'll pull the power back here to 2000. Whoop, a little too steep. Roll it into 150. So my RPMs right now are around 2,000, maybe 2,100. And I'm just looking to see if I'm climbing or not. Looking good. Not really climbing, about level. Maybe descending just a little bit. So look back for the runway. Yep, we're good. Because if you get too close to the runway, it makes it you get real busy when you're making your turn from downwind to base, and then the final, you get way too busy, way busier than you need to. So if you keep out, kind of the rule of thumb is about a half a mile from the runway. You want to make sure you can see it. That's what the important part is. So you want to make sure you can absolutely see it, and you can see where like the end of the runway is, where the numbers are. You want to be able to see that. So. Yep, it's a fun day. So I gotta make my call. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, downwind runway 24.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, altimeter 3006, call turning final for runway 24.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, request touch and go, runway 24.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, winds are 350 at 7 knots, cleared for the option runway 24.
Clear touch and go runway 24 Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
Hi, babe. Okay, I'm gonna pull the power back to like 1800, and then I'm gonna hold back on the yoke a little bit and put 1 notch of flaps on. So basically, you're kind of preventing it from descending, and so that will basically drop the airspeed. So. And then you want to, now I'm trying to trim it to get me around 70 knots. So I just pull back on the yoke until I get about 70 knots. Use the trim wheel to trim off the pressure on the yoke. I haven't got it quite yet, but we're close. So, gonna go ahead and turn for a heading of 330. 1 more notch of flaps. Okay, on a heading of 330, looking for the runway. Trying to make this a 90-degree turn. I should be right around 1,200 feet when I make this turn. And I am just a little bit low, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of gas, a little bit of fuel. Because my airspeed is good, so I'm going to control the altitude with power. So we'll go ahead and roll into the runway here. So I have 2 notches of flaps out. I'm trimmed for about 65 knots. What are Pappy's telling me this time? Looks like I'm a little bit high. So we'll dump the last notch of flaps out. And try to get the nose pointed in the right direction here. So right now I got all my flaps out. I'm trimmed for a little bit too, not enough, but I'm high. And my RPMs are at 1500, so ain't like I'm worried about stalling, but a little bit low in airspeed. Yep, we'll do full stop next time. I ain't gonna push my luck here. Okay, so I'm as I apply power, I have to put right rudder in to prevent the plane from going to the left. So now we go ahead and retrim for climb. Trying to maintain runway heading. Not doing a good job. I got a little too much rudder in, I think. Didn't quite have it trimmed right. I could tell whenever I let go of the oh yeah, that's a fly with Lewis script. So it and the cool thing is the same way I can like see right through it, so it doesn't bother me at all. It used to be like right in front of my face when I would land. It would be right in front of my face, and I need to fix it. So now I can grab it. I can grab this and put it wherever I want. So, and I changed the translucency of it so that it's more see-through. So, alrighty, gonna go for a heading of 150. Oh, not that steep though. And we're coming up on pattern altitude, so I'm coming back to 2000. Still a little steep. So we're trying to roll into 150, and as I get close, then I'll try to counter the turn to so that basically I like roll right into it. So I roll it up like that, and I try to catch it so that as it's turning, I try to catch the heading. All right, runway is absolutely behind us, so gonna do a full stop landing here. Definitely got I had way too much airspeed. I was like at about 95 or 100 knots. It was kind of like, oh, that's not right. Okay, so I'll make my call. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, downwind runway 24, request full stop landing.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, enter pattern on left downwind for runway 24. Call downwind.
Enter pattern on a left downwind for runway
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf request full stop landing.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, enter pattern on a left downwind for runway 24. Call downwind.
Enter pattern on a left downwind for runway 24 Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
She's absolutely giving me a rough time. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, full stop landing.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, enter pattern on a left downwind for runway 24.
That's hilarious.
Call downwind.
Enter pattern on a left downwind for runway 24 Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, downwind runway 24, full stop landing. Now she ignores me. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, full stop landing.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, enter pattern on a left downwind for runway 24. Call downwind.
Enter pattern on a left downwind for runway 24 Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
Yeah, she absolutely did. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, downwind runway 24.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, call turning final for runway 24.
It's really hard to not get flustered, but you can't let it bother you. You really have to fly the airplane. So I got to get to a heading of 330. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, final runway 24, full stop landing.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, negative. You are cleared to land on runway 24.
Clear to land runway 24, full stop landing.
Aircraft calling tower, say again with your call sign.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, full stop landing, runway 24.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, winds are 350 at 7 knots, cleared to land runway 24.
Hilarious.
Cleared to land runway 24 Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. Normally I could like do that call at one time, and I would just say I'm going to do a full stop landing. She'd say winds are, and I'd be good to go, but not today. It's hilarious. Okay, we're definitely some high here. I'm going to be down to 1500. Get lined up here. Dump in last notch of flaps.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, exit runway when able. Be advised you may have landed on the wrong runway.
She always tells me that. She told me to land on runway 24. Yeah, that was good. That was quite good. That was quite good. Wasn't as good as the last one, but wasn't nothing wrong with it. Okay, here's my. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, go ahead and turn in here. Oops, whoops. A little too sharp there, Bill. Alrighty. Oh, we'll see if she'll talk to me now. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, clear the active.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, welcome to Erie International Bridge, contact ground on 121.9er. Enjoy your afternoon.
Well, thank you, I will.
Ground on 121.9er Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, request taxi to general aviation parking. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, request taxi, general aviation parking.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf taxi to general aviation parking via taxiways Alpha, Delta, hold short runway 02. Taxi to general aviation parking via taxiways Alpha, Delta, hold short runway 02 Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
Ground here always seems to be sleeping. I don't know why. But you'll make the call, and that's why I hesitated to call again, because many times it will be 10, 15, 20 seconds, maybe longer, before they respond to you. So normally I'll wait that at least that long, and but then if they don't in 30 seconds, you know, then I'll call it again. So like I said, when I taxied out here, there's a runway here, 220, and when I come from general aviation parking out to the runway, they clear me. But when I come in this way, they won't clear me. I have to ask permission, and you have to say it correctly. Don't say it correctly, and you'll be there all day. But I have a cheat sheet that I always have with me of the proper phraseology of pilot's ATC, so I don't let it fluster me anymore. I used to let it, but it doesn't. All I do is get the cheat sheet out and look at what they're looking for. As soon as you say that, it's no big deal. So, and I think if I remember right, the right phrase is ready to cross runway 20. I think it's that simple. Your call sign, Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, but that's basically what it is. Well, this was a very, very great flight. This is fun. This was fun. A little hazy. It was a little hard to see at times, so. Okay, whoops, better stop here. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, ready to cross runway 20.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf cleared to cross runway 20. Cleared to cross runway 20 Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
Okay. Oh, try to keep lined up on the taxi line here. So this is Erie International Airport. International because I do have international flights that do come in here, so. Oh, I see I was a bad boy. I forgot to set my transponder to 1200. Whoops. Alrighty. Alright. Whoops. See if I can make the turn here. Come on, turn. Okay, put parking brake on. And let's see what we need to do here. So the flaps, I put them up, and I turn off the avionics, turn off the lights, and so we are. Go ahead, pull back on the mixture. Basically, you basically starve the engine of fuel. That's how you stop the stop airplanes, at least piston airplanes, so that when you go to start it, you have to basically prime it, because your goal is to never leave any fuel, avgas, never leave any in the engine. So that's kind of why you do what you do. It's you basically, the most important part of the shutdown is to make sure you turn off the avionics. So you never want to have the engine die while the avionics is up, because then it'll get like low voltage, and it's just, they're expensive pieces of equipment, and there's no sense in breaking them. So I'm trying to think what else I want to do. Well, basically I can think what I'm going to do. Let me see here. I'm going to go outside. And yeah, let me do that. So I'm going to go outside, and I'm going to do I did my best. I did my best. Walk.
Okay.
So I'm gonna grab my walk around, jump outside here. Cool. So we're outside, and basically what I need to do is I need to basically put some shocks on here. So I'm doing this kind of in reverse order. So I'm gonna go here, baggage door, elevator. So tail tie down. So I'm gonna go over here. So, oops, that was a little weird. Get back over here. So I'm gonna go like right here, and so right here I'm at this position, so I can toggle the tie down. So if I put that, I put the tie down there. So now I'm going to. We don't need any of this. Don't need any of that. Don't need that. Wing tie down. So I got to go over to the wing. So I'm gonna go over here, and this should be a good place. So I basically can toggle the tie down for the wing. So now we have the tails tied down, the right wing is tied down. So I'm gonna go to the front of the airplane, and so at the front of the airplane, let me go here. Don't need to check fuel. Don't need to check oil. So now I'm at the nose of the airplane. So I'm going to toggle the cover. So now you can see that the cover is on. It's please remove before flight. So we'll go over here, and I got one more thing to do. If I'm right here, yeah, I'll be good here. So we'll go next. And here, so I'm on the left wing, and toggle the so I toggle the tie down. So it almost got me. So and so I missed. Trying to find the shocks. Oh, there they are. Okay. So toggle shocks. So now the shocks are on. So basically the plane is basically how you would leave it. And after you're done flying, basically this is the procedure that you would do after you're done flying. So now I can basically close the door. Well, hopefully. Maybe at too much of an angle. Oops. Back over here. Huh. Thought I should be able to close this door. No. Huh. Well, that's weird. Let me pop back in. Yeah, I really should be able. Huh. That's weird. I wonder why I can't close that door. Well, we'll just pop right back in the cockpit. And we'll do it a little differently. Hello. Okay, so I'm back in the cockpit, so I can grab this handle here. Earlier this morning, I absolutely did that, so I was a little surprised when that did not work. So I think I'm all good. So trims right, pop, brakes are on. Yeah, I'm good. So thanks for everybody who wrote along, and yep, luckily I didn't kill anybody. Oh, I know what I need to do. I know what I need to do. Fuck.
Wilco.
I couldn't move my my yoke. My yoke wouldn't allow that. I couldn't see it move. When you're in the walk-around mode, it basically I can actually do that. Fuck.
Wilco.
So when this is visible, the yoke is locked. It this has control. So walk.
Okay.
So when I basically toggle it off, then this is good. So so that was a demonstration of me doing some touch and goes. The reality expansion pack, the alpha release of VR of the VR walk around. It's like a work in progress. It's not ready for prime time yet. There's a couple of issues that I want to that I'm talking with Claudio about, and but all in all, this will work. This is this is pretty good. This is there's only one other airplane that I know of that has a walk around that's like comparable to this one, and that is the SP30 from Mad Flight Studios, if I remember correctly, and their SP30, they're a little ultralight, and it has something real similar to all this. So I've been privileged to be part of doing the alpha testing of this, and it's just been a lot of fun to be able to do that, and the fact that the day turned out to be nice, where I could actually get out and fly, even better. So without further ado, any questions from anybody? If not, I'll go ahead and call this stream to an end. And this was just so much fun for me. And if I could give enjoyment to anybody who watched the video in the end, that's good. So cool. I try. I try my best to make my stream fun. Flying is a serious thing, absolutely, but I try to make my streams fun and try to never do anything that I wouldn't try to do in a real airplane. So that's my goal. So without all that, I'll call the stream to an end, and thanks so much for watching. Goodbye. Have a great day.